You're listening to the Public Health Entrepreneurs Podcast with your host, Dr. Charlotte Huntley. There's a systematic approach to strategic planning that helps you create both meaningful impact and sustainable revenue. I'm sharing more about that with you on this episode. Welcome to Public Health Entrepreneurs. I'm Dr. Charlotte Huntley, and this podcast is for anyone building a business that improves health at the population level. You might come from healthcare, law, pharmacy, information technology, research, or somewhere completely different. What matters is your focus on population health and entrepreneurship. With 25 years in healthcare, public health, and entrepreneurship, I'm here to help you with the entrepreneurial strategies that drive impact. Strategic planning can feel overwhelming, especially when you're trying to balance creating impact and building a sustainable business. However, it doesn't have to be complicated or theoretical. It needs to be practical and actionable. Today, I'm sharing strategies that help you plan for both meaningful outcomes and revenue generation. This approach has helped public health entrepreneurs move from scattered efforts to focused strategies that actually get results. Let's dive into a few strategies that I'd like to share with you. Think of this as a part of a little series of episodes because I started with the previous episode sharing on strategic moves and strategic planning, continuing now, and I have quite a bit to say. So I'm going to dive into a few strategies to share with you. The first one is start with your vision, then work backwards. Begin with the end in mind. My coach has said that for years, and I think she got that from a book, but we hear it commonly, but I think of her every time I use that phrase. Begin with the end in mind. What does success look like for both the population you serve and your business? So imagine in the future when you have completed whatever it is, what does that look like? Working backwards from that vision reveals the milestones and the steps that you actually need. This reverse engineering approach prevents you from building something that doesn't get you where you want to go. It's a very powerful approach, and I actually have coached by this. I've practiced this, and I've shared this with a lot of my clients through coaching over the years. So it's a very powerful strategy. And here's my second strategy. Build your framework around outcomes, not offerings. Many entrepreneurs organize their planning around what they'll deliver, like programs, services, products. But the shift is to organize around the changes you're creating and the revenue those changes can generate. When your framework is outcome focused, then your offerings become flexible tools rather than fixed constraints. You understand? So your framework needs to be around the outcomes. I think of this as a part of the transformation when your clients go through this process. Just to me, a more impactful process. So moving on to the third strategy, create clear decision-making criteria. So strategic planning isn't just about what you'll do. It's about what you won't do. It's just as important. Establish criteria for evaluating opportunities. Does this advance our impact goals? Does this contribute to revenue? You'll notice I keep bringing up revenue because we are building businesses, which means revenue generation is important. So does this contribute to revenue? And does this align with our capacity? These are important questions to ask, and these are important criteria when evaluating opportunities. You're making clear decisions. And then also having criteria in place makes saying no easier, and it keeps you focused on what matters. I think this is a really important concept to just lean into for a moment. It's just as important to know when to say no as it is when to say yes. And creating clear decision-making criteria can help you know when to say yes and when to say no. Very powerful. All right, the next strategy, plan for both impact milestones and revenue milestones. Again, I'm going to keep reminding you of that. The revenue is important. We can get really uncomfortable sometimes when we think or talk about the money, but I don't want you to be that way. We're going to talk about the revenue. That's an important part of being in business, significant part of being in business. So plan for both impact milestones and revenue milestones. Your strategic framework needs to track two parallel paths: population health outcomes and financial stability. Set specific targets for both and look for where they intersect and support each other. The sweet spot is finding revenue models that accelerate your impact, not compete with it. And finally, I'll share one more strategy with you. Build in regular revenue and adjustment points. Strategic planning isn't a one-time event. It's an ongoing practice. Schedule specific times to assess what's working, what's not, and what needs to change. This is so important. Don't just start with a nice plan, a strategic plan, and have clarity and then never review that or never assess what's working and not and make any adjustments. This flexibility keeps your framework relevant as your business grows and the market conditions shift, which happens. As we really well know from this year, at the time of this recording, it's the end of 2025. And boy, we had a lot of market shifts, right? So this is a very important part of your strategic planning is building regular reviews and adjustment points. So strategic planning isn't about creating a perfect document that sits on a shelf. It's about building a living framework that guides your decisions and helps you focus on what matters. When you plan for both impact and income, organize around outcomes rather than activities, and build in regular review points, you create a business that's both effective and sustainable. Your framework should work for you, not the other way around. Start simple, stay focused, and adjust as you learn. Now, we've developed programs to help you implement these strategies, set, and also work on achieving your goals. I encourage you to explore our website, publichealthentrepreneurs.com. You can find these programs, and you can always reach out to us through our website if you have any questions. Also, make sure that you've subscribed to Public Health Entrepreneurs podcast newsletter so that you'll receive updates about our new podcast episodes when they're released, as well as programs and events that we offer. All right, everyone. Until next time, have a fantastic rest of your day. Thank you for listening. Visit publichealthentrepreneurs.com to learn more.